As we know, August 1st is just 3 days away, and there are a lot of people in the black community talking about this alleged boycott that's going to happen. But black people are not the only people getting into the conversation. Other groups on TikTok are now in the conversation, including non-blacks, all right? So that's non-Africans, non-black Americans. And you have this Asian guy who seems to be an outlier. And when I say outlier, he's an Asian man that follows the black community heavily. And you always will have that, white guys, Asian guys, Hispanic guys, they're just really into black issues and black content. For whatever reason, they may have grown up around blacks or just, find it fascinating. You always get those guys that call into Tariq's stream or Dr. Umar's stream, or they're just fascinated about what goes on in black culture, and they know the ins and outs of it pretty well. And so does this guy.
Hello everyone. How are you guys doing today? So as many of you are probably aware by now, on August 1st, right, there's going to be a supposed nationwide boycott against African-owned businesses. And the people that are going to be doing the boycotting are so-called black Americans. And I'm not black, okay? I am not black. But I'm still going to go ahead and say this. This is really, really, really disgusting, and this is also nauseating to me, because it just shows you the significant and notable amount of self-hate that so-called black Americans, or what they call themselves to be FBA or ADOS, it shows the significant amount of self-hate that they have against their African brothers and sisters on the continent of Africa, and how much they are trying to delineate themselves from their African ancestry. Now, I don't know the true origins of where this self-hate and delineation is coming from, but for those of us who are on social media a lot, we probably have an idea with where all this is probably coming from, okay? Because you have individuals on social media like Tariq Nasheed who coined such terminologies, right? And when I first watched Tariq Nasheed several years ago, I thought he was a Pan-African, and I thought he was for black people all over the world and for Africa. Well, apparently right now he isn't, and there are many other popular individuals on YouTube that I used to follow for a long time that I used to think the same thing, and apparently they're on this indigenous black American movement, okay? In this movement, they're in this movement where they are just trying to divide diasporic Africans from each other, and this is just so sad.
So according to this guy, he's saying you guys are suffering from self-hate, and he's really the tone that he has is not really towards the Africans, it's toward the black Americans. So he's saying, hey, listen, you black Americans out there, you're hating on your own people, all right? But look what he says further.
If black people all over the world are to be really and truly liberated, okay, y'all have to stop this beef with each other. Y'all have to stop this self-hate and really come together as a people, okay? Because everybody's against you. Everybody's against black people all over the world, no matter what part of the world you come from, no matter what part of the world you're born in, okay? Black Americans, why don't you boycott all these Asian businesses that have done you no good but exploit off of you and take your money? No, you're not going to do that. You're going to boycott African businesses when you should very much be patronizing them, okay? And treating them as your own, as black people, okay? You're not going to do that. You're not going to boycott all these Asian, Arab, Indian businesses in your communities exploiting off of you, but you're going to boycott your very own blood. You're going to boycott your very own family, your very own lineage. I just don't understand, okay? Now, for those of you that want to continue believing whatever you want to believe, go ahead and end up getting destroyed for the lack of knowledge, okay? But I'm going to continue to say, as well as many other people, if you all are to be really and truly liberated, okay, no matter what part of the world you're from, you need to come together.
Well, then he talks about, why don't you boycott the Indians, the Asians? You're not going to boycott them. They the ones that really treat you disrespectfully. And let me just say this, to a point, he is right. All right, he's right. The most disrespectful people to people in the black communities, in my honest opinion, are Arab-owned stores, Asian stores. That's where a lot of blacks historically, and I was in, I want to say I was in Edmonton, London, North London, some years back. And I saw a whole bunch of these stores in the black sector of North London. And I heard some complaints about the same thing even there. So to his credit, he's not telling a lie, all right? Because you've seen it all the time. Asian nail stores being disrespectful to black women, black people, liquor stores. We've seen it. And then you also have seen evidence of blacks continuing to go right back there and support, all right? I've seen it, even Jamaicans complain about it in Jamaica, where Asians, Chinese businesses will be rude to Jamaican, and the Jamaican will still go back and support that store after complaining about it. Here's the problem that I have with him. Well, all blacks should be together and support each other because you're black. Now, let me just say this. I am a brother that's a Pan-Africanist, okay? I'm also by lineage, hashtag FBA, which we would call original African-American, somebody, it's a whole bunch of terms. But even in the black community, I find it difficult to get along with everybody in our community. And these are people that we understand. I mean, I got folks in my church that I just don't like and would rather hang out with somebody else of another community, another race, than some of the people at my own church. And we all know people like that. We got family members that we don't like. So he's saying you guys should all come together. Well, nobody can come together. I can tell you why, because look at Asians. Do all Asians look at each other the same? Like China and Japan have a history of going back and forth. The Vietnamese and the Chinese, I mean, Malaysia kicked out Singapore, and they're very closely related. So all Asians don't get along, Taiwan and China, but you're telling the blacks to get along. And I think the reason why I understand why he's saying it is because of the position of the blacks. So basically, because of what you have been through and you share similar experiences, in his mind and mentality, you should be together. The problem is, let me just talk about Africans. Africans in Black America come from two completely different lifestyles. All right. We saw that when the first Afro-Americans at the time went to Liberia. They quickly noticed they were two different groups of people. A person that's from Africa, that's living in America, is not in America for the same reason why Black American is there. The world they come up in, the loyalty they may have to certain things are not the same. I live in Africa. There's a lot of people who look just like me, but we are completely different because of how we were raised. I hate to say this too. More Africans tend to be, even the ones in the States, they have more of a survivalism mentality, and especially for first generation, it's about surviving. So when you're about surviving, you can't come together with people who have a different type of surviving mentality, which might be oppression, which might be racism. It's completely different, all right? And you're gonna get some blacks who get it, you're gonna get some blacks who don't. But all blacks are not going to get together, even in Africa. Look at what's going on with the border disputes you have with Kenya and Tanzania. You have a tension between Rwanda and Uganda. Rwandese and the Congo, these are border countries. And you typically find that people that live very close to each other dislike each other the most. Ghanaians want Nigerians out in the 80s. Nigerians kicked Ghanaians out of Nigeria, over 1 million. Something like that. So this whole idea that all blacks need to come together is really foolish. It's something that we are hoping for. Here's what we really can say. We hope that we can change conditions that black people, whether it's hashtag FBA within our own communities or blacks around the world, would see enough value in each other that they are incentivized to work together. And just shopping at somebody's business that you feel disrespected by on either side, it could be Black Americans or Africans, it doesn't work. We have to be so concerned about what the other side wants. And this is the problem in the black world. In the black world, we are usually not concerned about what somebody else wants. Okay, I can clearly say that being a black American, I can say that living in Africa, we are mostly concerned about what we need, what we're looking for. That's typically what we're concerned with. Now, when you're kind of come into the system like that, that's when you get a problem. Okay, this is where it becomes problematic. It becomes completely problematic. And now when people are looking out for their own self-interest, unfortunately, you cannot do that, okay? You just can't. And then to go around and tell somebody like, yo, look, you ought to be with them. You ought to do, it's not gonna work. You're gonna have to be able to deal with somebody that you can deal with, whether they're black, African, whatever, all right? And this guy needs to understand that. I'm not even gonna go into the fact that he needs to stay in this place because he's Asian. I'm not gonna deal with that. I'm dealing with what he's talking about. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again for another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. Future for all that you do. Grab the bell, we're out.